The detective said, "We found your fingerprints all over the apartment." I said, "I know. I left them there intentionally." His coffee froze halfway to his lips. He set the mug down slowly, staring at me like I just switched languages. "Excuse me?" I leaned back in the chair, cuffs cold against my wrists. "I left them there on purpose," I repeated. "Every one of them. The front door, the countertop, the weapon. I made sure you'd see them." He glanced toward the one-way mirror, probably checking if anyone else was listening. "Why would you do that?" "Because I needed to be in this room, talking to you." His eyes dropped to the recorder on the table, the red light blinking steadily. His hand drifted toward his holster. I didn't move. "I waited 11 years for this conversation," I said. I wasn't about to rush it. "The man found dead in that apartment was Thomas Keller, a retired financial consultant. Clean record, no known enemies, no obvious motive. At least, that's what his file claimed." "You knew him?" the detective asked. "I knew what he was involved in," I said. "That's different." I was 14 when my younger sister vanished. She was 16, bright, loud, always singing. One day she walked out of our house in Riverside, and she never came back. No body, no witnesses, no leads. The police searched for a few months, then they moved on. My parents didn't. My father drank himself into an early grave before I turned 20. My mother stopped speaking altogether, just sat by the window every evening waiting for footsteps that never came. I enlisted at 18, left the country, left the silence. 2 deployments taught me things about surveillance, patterns, and patience. When I came back, I started digging. Not officially, just me, a laptop, and every scrap of data tied to the day my sister disappeared. 4 years later, I found the first crack. A witness remembered her getting into a black sedan. The car was registered to a holding company. That company traced back to Thomas Keller. The detective leaned forward now. "Go on." "Keller wasn't just a consultant. He handled money for people who needed problems erased, funds rerouted, evidence buried, people forgotten. My sister wasn't his only victim. There were at least 12 girls over 2 decades, same age range, same pattern, same outcome. Every disappearance lined up with a quiet cash transfer into one of Keller's overseas accounts." "Do you have proof?" the detective asked, his face draining of color. "I have 11 years of it. Bank trails, property records, burial locations. I found 3 of them myself. I didn't disturb anything. I documented it all." "So why didn't you bring this to us?" "I tried," I said, "twice. The first time I was told I was grieving and needed help. The second time I walked into a federal office with a folder thick enough to choke someone. 2 days later, my apartment was emptied. Only my laptop and backups were taken. A week after that, I was audited, fired, blacklisted. I spent 3 years rebuilding my life while Keller kept breathing, living comfortably, dining out, cashing checks from people who paid him to make daughters disappear." The room was silent. "So you killed him," the detective said. "No, I found him dead. Natural causes. Heart failure. 71 years old. But if he died quietly, everything would have stayed buried. So I made noise. I staged the scene, left my prints, called it in, and waited." "You framed yourself for a murder that never happened?" "I forced an investigation because the truth doesn't move unless it's dragged into the light." I slid a small key across the table. "Storage unit, Harbor Street Unit 318. Everything's there." He looked at it carefully. "You won't be charged," he said. "There's no crime." "I know. That's why I needed to be obvious." I leaned forward. "My sister's name was Elena. She would have been 28 this year." The detective opened the unit the next morning. 3 weeks later, Elena's remains were recovered from a rural property outside Coldwater County, along with 4 others. The client list collapsed a judge, 2 legislators, and the CEO of a multinational firm. And for the first time in 11 years, my mother stopped waiting by the window.